something unrelated, like how many utility poles are there from your house to the school, and you could have you didn't ever have to count those, but your subconscious mind remembers how many utility poles, and if you go back to your original community and if everything is in place, they can count those poles and you will be 100% correct. This is how dynamic we are as beings. We just don't get a grip. We just don't know it.
Wow. Yeah, you're right. A lot of times we have those inner dialogues even with ourselves and things of that nature, but we're afraid to acknowledge those inner dialogues.
Right.
Hey, 1 second. I think we got somebody else calling in. This is Mr. Scott Middleton. I'm going to bring him into the show. So thank you for calling the Voice of the People. Who's on the line?
This is Scott Middleton, and I just wanted to call in and to let your fans know and that they can listen to the repeats of your show on my network, Worldwide Podcasting Radio Network. And I also want to say a big welcome to you guys.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you.
We appreciate it. And we definitely look forward to being part of your network. And definitely William Burton, who's our guest today, I'm sure he'll be glad to know that we'll be airing on your network in addition to our regular shows and iHeart and things of that nature. So definitely looking forward to folks being able to find both our current show as well as our past shows and our shows in the future on your network. So definitely appreciate this great opportunity to join the network. And after Dean told me about it, I went and checked out some of your other shows. So definitely glad we're part of this network, and we're definitely looking forward to a nice relationship with you.
Yes, indeed.
Would someone send me that link, please?
I most certainly can.
Yeah, we'll definitely do that. And we got some other folks that have asked that same question and wanted to find out other ways that they could hear the show and things of that nature. So we'll definitely add that to our connections. And William, you'll definitely have that link in addition to Dean, why don't you go ahead and drop down some of those networks we're on and give the telephone numbers in case anybody else wants to call in as well.
I sure can. The call-in number is 646-668-8393. And we can be found on here at Blog Talk Radio, Stitcher, Spreaker, iHeartRadio, YouTube, SoundCloud, TuneIn. So we're here, and we're usually here every Monday night at 7 p.m. It's the Voice of the People with Dean Geronimo and Mark Lee. Our host, Todd Jones, is also will be coming in with us from time to time. So, we thank you all for listening. We appreciate you. We ask that you continue to listen, and we'll keep being the voice of the people.
Being the voice of the people, providing you with enlightening conversations like we're having with Mr. Burton, who is always giving us some enlightening conversation and some enlightening thoughts. I want to get to what you were saying about the inner dialogue, but I was actually going to share with you all, both of you, an interesting conversation that I had. You were talking about how people's mindsets can be changed. I was actually talking over the weekend to a good friend of mine. A good friend of mine was involved, and actually they have a court date tomorrow with the folks that took down the Confederate statue and are now facing criminal charges. We had a couple of those folks on the show, what was that, 2 weeks ago, I believe, Dean? Or was that last week?
Yeah.
2 weeks ago.
No.
We had them on.
Yeah, 2 weeks ago.
Right, we had them on 2 weeks ago. So some of those people were in court. But I was talking to one of the people that we have not had on yet, Dante, and Dante's a longtime friend, and he was telling me an interesting conversation he had with a white supremacist. He brought up white supremacy and everything. But what he did is he said that he went to a conference after they had taken down the statue and were facing all these charges. And he's a member of, union activities. That's what he's primarily known for. He's a union activist. So he went to a union meeting, and this one guy came up to him and he said, you may not know this about me, but I was a white supremacist back in the day. And I think basically he was a white gentleman, was about ready to be on the fearful side. He was like, oh, shit. I just didn't understand this. This guy's telling me he's a white supremacist. What's going on? And this guy proceeded to tell him, he was like, basically that he was no longer a white supremacist because Cool Breeze had helped him realize that he didn't need to have that kind of attitude about brothers and sisters. So apparently Cool Breeze, and that's what he goes by, the nickname, was basically the union foreman. So the union foreman had helped this guy get involved in the unions that he was involved in and things of that nature. So after he had a very positive dealing with a brother, he realized that he needed to revisit his attitude toward us. So he was like saying, and then he proceeded to share with me another story, which is that I think it was either his granddad or his dad, but one of them was also very much of a racist by nature, but not Dante, even though Dante has some relationships with sisters and everything, if I remember correctly, but one of his relatives, I believe it was his brother, had a relationship and then eventually got married to a sister. And I think another brother had a relationship and got married to a sister. So they had babies. And, of course, the babies were interracial babies. So he said that he got a picture from this brother of his who used to be a staunch racist carrying these babies of his and basically changing his views of us because of having to deal with us on a more personal basis. So sometimes that's what we have to do. We have to, like, challenge our stereotypes by actually putting ourselves in the position of having actual relationships with the people that we want to stereotype. I think that that's part of what even we as a people have to do sometimes with our Spanish brethren and sisters, because sometimes we want to stick them into little corners because we might get on an elevator and they don't speak the same language that we do. So sometimes we have to step out of our own comfort zone, one of the things that you talked about, William, and actually learn about people and actually get to know them as real people.
Well, I really agree with that. And when I went over to my distributor's house, Nanette, and she had 25 people waiting for me, I realized that that wasn't happening in my community, you know. And I was kind of happy and kind of jealous at the same time. I thought, why can't she just make a call out and say, I got this dude that's got something heavy and it's nutritional and it can help us create a cash flow and all of this, and all of a sudden a bunch of people show up, and man, I haven't been able to figure out how to make that happen in my community, and so I look around the world in the 50 countries where this product is thriving, and I think, man, we're kind of not catch. We need to catch up. We need to. We've been saying we need to unite a lot. And it's still true. That we need to just come together and love each other and support each other. One question: how much time do we have?
Dean?
We have about 15 good minutes.
Okay, so I need to do some selfless promotion here. The Leadership Girl Live Summit just hired the brother to headline at their Women's Empowerment Conference that's going to be at a winery right out of Durham. And so you can go to leadershipgirl.com, right, to see all of that information. But I was trying to figure out how in the world that these European people found me, embraced me, and wanted me to be their headliner, and I couldn't get a gig at the African American Festival, and I am the only national director of the Black Wall Street ever in the world, and I made all kinds of Black history myself. I was the first person, like I said, to help an AIDS person gain 4 pounds. I actually got fired from the hospital for doing it. So we're making history every day, but we have to start really paying attention to each other. When I got here, people knew, well, he's gone to college a lot, but he doesn't have a degree. Well, UNC put me on their summer faculty for 3 summers, right? And they didn't say he doesn't have a degree. What they did was allow me to show them what I knew, and they bought it. Right? So there's a lot of brothers and sisters out there who are being ignored by the community who can contribute to the community. So don't be looking at somebody and you think that they're the savior of the community because they have 4 PhDs. They spend a lot of time going to school rather than working in the street. And I'm not knocking PhDs. I love people with brains and academia and stuff like that. But we've got to start looking at people as real people and figure out that everybody's got a contribution to make. and then we need to honor each other. And so I really appreciate, getting the exposure and being able to talk about these crazy ideas I have about us being able to tap our full brain-mind potential. And that's why at 30, it's unheard of for a person to buy a guitar and then learn how to play it, let alone get a standing ovation at Ohio State University when they opened for Muddy Waters. And I walk into the dressing room and Muddy poured me a glass of champagne and slapped me on the back and told me I had him fired up. You see, so we get taught by this educational system about these limitations, but we're going to have to break away from that because when we built those pyramids, we broke away from limitations in order to do that. So we just need to recognize who we are and recognize each other. Since I've been here, I noticed that some people will hire me to play music, and some people won't hire me because I write everything I do, and they assume that if I write everything I do, it's going to be boring because I'm 73 years of age. And then, excuse my expression, when they come to my concert, I fire their asses up. And then they start to understand, that you can't judge people by just looking at the cover. You've got to, and you said that before, Mark, you've got to have a better relationship, a closer relationship, and kind of, shall we say, an intimate relationship before you find out what people are really about, and so, I'm hoping that the community will allow me to. I'm just praying that people will allow me to teach them what I know, because I had no concept that at 30, 40, or 50 you can rebuild yourself. You can remake. You can make yourself over again into who you want to be. You can become the person that you want to be, and there are steps to doing that, and I coach people on that. So I highly recommend that people contact me if they want coaching, because I'm a consultant for workforce development, and when people walk into my workshop at workforce development, they think I'm going to be talking to them about how to get a job, and I start telling them that their internal dialogue is the most powerful conversation in the room. Right, and then all of a sudden the spine's kind of straighten out, and the eyes get clearer because I'm not telling them about something they've got to climb Mount Everest to get. It's just like the master teacher said, the kingdom is within you. I'm bringing a version of that. The kingdom is within you, and let me tell you, we have so much unlimited stuff within us. We've just got to dig a little deeper, as one of the movie characters said, and we have unlimited potential. I firmly believe that.
Two things, but then, like you said, we've got probably about 5 or 6 minutes to go or anything, but just real quickly, one of the things I've always heard is that we probably only use, about maybe 15 to 20% of our actual brain power. So
that's way too generous. That's way too generous. I say we use 2% of our brain-mind potential. That's the conscious mind. 98% of your intelligence, your subconscious mind, is 1,000,000 times more powerful than your conscious mind. And so you can raise your potential for accomplishing your goals by learning how to communicate with that subconscious mind. Subconscious mind, people do affirmations all the time, right? And that's great. But let me tell you, the subconscious mind doesn't listen to words. The subconscious mind takes on how you feel about what you're saying to yourself. Not what you're saying, well, how you feel about what you're saying. So if Muhammad Ali had said, I am the greatest, and was thinking, oh, no, I'm not just great, I'm lying, right? He would have been half as successful as he was, but he felt that he was telling the truth, and then he went out and walked in that truth, and was a force to be reckoned with. So we can communicate with our subconscious in such a way that it will create the future we want for ourselves. I firmly believe that, because I'm the guy who bought a guitar and sounded horrible, right? But I just would not give up, And so my mind started working with me. My subconscious mind started working with me, and all of a sudden things started to come together. Well, not all of a sudden, slowly things started to come together. But meditation was a key component. Right nutrition and meditation and positive affirmations, positive